Hi, this is Slico Deck, and I'm starting a new series called Tinfoil Tuesdays. I will be discussing the books of George R. Martin and which possible spoilers they reveal about the Winds of Winter and the upcoming sequel series that George would like to call The Long Night. This video contains a lot of potential spoilers about the HBO sequel. Consider yourself warned. Who is the prince that was promised, and what does it mean? The phrase is thrown around quite a bit in the Ice and Fire series, but we are never actually shown the prophecy. Most viewers confuse it with the Azor Ahai story, which has been beaten to death, so I won't go there. Rhaegar gave up his kingdom because of the prophecy. He called his child the child of Ice and Fire. Before I go into all of that, let's go back to where the books left off. This guy does not exist. This guy is not Benjamin Stark. This never happened, but probably will. This guy has been mortally wounded capturing Dragonstone. These characters are alive. And these are not. And this never happened. Nor did this. Anyway, let's talk about what happened at Hardhome. Not during the War of the Five Kings, but earlier. Hardhome was once the only settlement approaching a town in the lands beyond the wall, sheltered on Storald's Point and commanding a deep-water harbor. But 600 years ago, it was burned and its people destroyed, though the Watch cannot say for certainty what happened. Some say that cannibals from Skagos fell upon them, others that slavers across the narrow sea were at fault. We learn that Maester Willis traveled there on a Pentoshi trader. The strangest stories from a ship of the Watch sent to investigate tell of hideous screams echoing down the cliffs above Hardhome, where no living man or woman could be found. Jon Snow, in A Dance with Dragons, recalls, Hardhome had been halfway toward becoming a town, the only true town north of the wall, until the night 600 years ago, when hell had swallowed it. Its people had been carried off, their homes and halls consumed in a conflagration that burned so hot that watchers on the wall far to the south had thought the sun was rising in the north. So we have several possibilities. Cannibals from Skagos, Pentoshi slavers, civil war among the wildlings, a volcano, a meteor, and because it wouldn't be a Tinfoil Tuesday if I didn't drag Dying of the Light into it, aliens. Because the fire is described as nuclear tier, I think we can rule out Skagosi cannibals and internal struggles among the wildlings. So George goes into much trouble to mention the harbor, the previous involvement of the Pentoshi, and even Jorah Mormont's history with slaving. My vote goes with the Pentoshi slavers asking Mother Valyria to bring a little fire and blood to the wildlings. A few dying dragons in the cave, or even one, would explain the ghoulish sounds heard by the Night's Watch. So no need for the stupid dragon trap plot, which will not happen in the books. There is already a dead dragon beyond the wall, but who will ride it? So let's go back to the point where the Ice and Fire books end. Melisandre believes that Jon Snow is Azor Ahai reborn, but he is bleeding out in the snow. Shireen is at Castle Black with them. Creepy Patchface is wandering around, singing his ghoulish little songs. Clever bird, clever man, clever, clever fool, Patchface sings in A Clash of Kings. The shadows come to dance, my lord, dance, my lord, dance, my lord. The shadows come to stay, my lord, stay, my lord, stay, my lord. He jerked his head with each word, the bells in his antlers sending up a clangor. Shireen tells Maester Crescent He sings that all the time. I told him to stop, but he won't. It makes me scared. Make him stop. Something about this exchange gives Shireen Baratheon the creeps, and George R.R. Martin has promised that something similar to what happened on the show will befall the sweet little girl. But what? And why? I think we all know that Melisandre will plan to sacrifice her to R'hllor to save Jon. But then what? Let's look at George R.R. Martin's first novel, Dying of the Light. The Wolfman Hapala announced that Warlorn would sweep around the Wheel of Fire, the Blood Moon, once. 50 standard years of sunlight, then out again into the darkness of the Fringe. There was a century of storms as Warlorn neared the light, years of melting ice and volcanic activity and earthquakes. A frozen atmosphere came, bit by bit, to life, and hideous winds howled like monster infants. Keep in mind that all this happens at the Dawn Age, and how stories can evolve over thousands of years. So we have a proto-Stark promising a planet full of life when the dawn comes. That life comes through a combination of the sun, ice, volcanic activity, earthquakes, and storms. The prince who was promised was actually the dawn. But if you want to make it in their prophecy, the prince who was promised must have the following pedigree: Nymeros Martell of Dorne, Targaryen of Old Valyria, the icy blood of the First Men, say from a Blackwood, the Danes of Starfall, and a pinch of Durrandon's Storm King's blood. As the books close, two characters have this pedigree: Stannis Baratheon and his daughter Shireen, both of whom, by the way, are possible dragon riders. Patchface does not want his queen to burn. He rescues her by delivering her to the Dancing Shadows, safe from Melisandre's fires. The others get their promised prince, or rather princess, who can ride one of the white dragons from the ancient attack on Hardhome. The Princess Shireen is not the pure sweet sacrifice from the show. George Martin does not create black and white characters. We all know this. The Princess Shireen is the great other, flying on her ice dragon. Patchface has been telling us all along. We never saw this in the show because the show never bothered to include Patchface. Instead, we were regaled with an ice devil and one of the dumbest plot devices ever seen on television. Also, we could watch the Hound, bash zombies with Robert's Warhammer, and Rhaegar destroy the kingdom over half a prophecy. The Targaryens and Starks don't do everything. If you like this video, please subscribe and keep checking this channel to learn how to get the most out of your DNA test results. Thank you for watching.